Good morning, everybody. It's been a while, but there's a reason for that. As you all know, I was in my last month of pregnancy, and I wanted to record this today because so many of you, I shared on Instagram recently that I've just had the baby, and so many of you have been so sweet and congratulatory, can't pronounce the word, congratulatory, and asked how it went, and rather than have to DM everybody individually. Number two, it's to share this journey because I had no idea what giving birth felt or looked like. And I have a lot of friends who either don't have any plans to have kids but would like to know the process, or people who want to have kids, and just to share some insight on my journey so you can either learn or just hear our story together. Right now, I'm actually sitting here on my couch, just fed my little one, so you might hear her snoring in the back, little baby sounds. I have no idea if I can record this in time to finish, but I'll give it a go. And so my due date to give birth was on the 16th of January. And what happened was, I find that when you get to that due date, suddenly there's a lot of pressure for the baby to come out. Obviously, there's a medical reason for that after a few weeks. If the baby's in there too long, it can get suffocated and stuff. So the countdown was on, and people were starting to ask me, when's the baby due? And honestly, we started to do everything possible to get this baby out, because she was a little whopper. She was a big baby, measuring at the time. Well, you can hear her there. Measuring at the time when she was inside me, she was 3.6 to 3.7 kg. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get this baby out? So I said, it's her due date. I want her to get out because she's getting bigger. The bigger she is, the harder she is to get out. And I wanted to avoid a cesarean as much as possible. So it's going to sound a bit awkward, but there's many ways apparently to naturally induce giving birth. Some are I don't know how practical they are, but I tried them all. I ate pineapple. I had spicy food. What was another one? I did exercise on the bouncing ball. I walked every day. Did hip stretches, and apparently a bit of jiggery pokery with your partner helps. A bit of pokage, a bit of sexy time. So I did everything. Okay, I had coconut juice, and what happened was, I'd say on the 18th at just after midnight, I started to feel an unusual feeling in my belly, and I was like, it's not really painful, just kind of like a stirring, and I didn't want to I know that sometimes giving birth can take quite a long time, so I didn't want to alarm anybody, so I kind of left the bedroom and closed the door not to wake my partner up, and I sat outside and read a book probably. And as time went on, I noticed that it was getting... I timed it, and I realized it was contractions. They were like contractions. And I timed it, and it was 10 minutes, every 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, there was like a painful feeling in my belly, right? And I thought, oh, it's not too bad. Well, I say that now. It does get bad, okay? So once they got to 10 minutes consistently, I woke my husband up. I was like, listen, we have to go. Actually, I called the hospital. I was like, listen, when should I come in? I don't want to go in too soon, but I don't want to go in too late. When should I go in? And they said, well, if you're 10 minutes apart, also there are signs of delivery. Like, it's going to sound disgusting, but I'm just going to tell you how it is, guys. If there's like a mucus plug that comes out, Google it. Bit icky, but if a mucus plug comes out, and if you're feeling contractions, then chances are you're in the beginning of labor, right? So 2 of those things were happening. My waters hadn't broke, but off we went. We packed the car up, and we're like, right, we're gonna have this baby, let's go. And this was like 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. We trundled to the hospital, really excited, and they measured there's this thing called a CTG. It measures the baby's heartbeat. I think it measures your contractions. And so They measured the baby's heartbeat, measured my contractions, and they said, okay, your contractions are super, super strong. So we're going to admit you. And so we actually booked with a private hospital. We chose to go private and pay for it ourselves, purely because well, there's many reasons. I could talk about that in another. But it's and it wasn't. We didn't go for a really expensive one, but it wasn't a cheap one. I wanted one near our house. Okay, so basically they admitted me. So I was like, great, let's get the show on the road. And then the doctor measured me. Excuse me if I'm yawning. I've been up all night feeding this little one. She was a night owl. And she measured me, right? And she's like, you're not even dilated 1 centimeter. And for those that don't know, because I didn't know, in order to give birth, you need to be dilated. Your lady pot down there, your uterus needs to be, your cervix, needs to be dilated 10 centimeters. Didn't know this before I had a kid. So you have to open up 10 centimeters. And so if you're not dilated even 1 centimeter, you got a long, long way to go. And the contractions have to bring that on. And she's like, oh, you're not even dilated 1 centimeter. I was like, oh, that's not good. And she said, listen, you could wait it out here or wait it out at home. And I chose to wait it out at home because it's more sorry, guys. It's more comfortable at home. My own, safety and comfort of my own home. Number two, I've had labours taking 2-3 days, and I'm like, I don't want to pay for a private suite for 2-3 days in a private hospital, right? So I said I want to go home. So off we went back home. Wow, and then the drama began, right? So listen, I tip my hat off to women who are able to endure contractions naturally, because my gosh, it's the most painful thing I've ever experienced, and I've fractured and I've broken my back during skiing. It is like being stabbed in your vagina, stabbed in your stomach, stabbed in your anus. It's so painful, and I was like, how can something be so painful? But anyway, I was there. My husband was helping me out. My sister came over, and my mum came over. Later on, my dad came over, and they were all just there trying to support me and help me. And it was just so painful. And as a bit of a background, the intention that we wanted, I say this, we wanted, what you want, what you plan for, is totally different to what happened, right? What we wanted was a natural birth. I wanted to try it. I wanted to try it. And I said, let me give it a go. I have nothing against medical intervention like epidurals or cesareans. If it's medically necessary, then sure. But I thought, let me give it a go. And I've had so many wonderful stories of people in this community who have managed to do natural births without pain relief. And I thought, well, maybe let me try it. I even paid for a 5-week course. Every Sunday off we went and learned about hypnobirthing and breathing. But let me tell you something. No amount of breathing was able to get me through that pain of contractions. I don't know, maybe I'm weak, maybe I wasn't focusing properly, maybe I wasn't thinking of the balloon that I'm supposed to breathe in and out. Whatever it wasn't working. And it got to a point where I was 5 minutes contractions apart, so those 5 minutes, and they were really, really strong contractions, 5 minutes apart. And so off we went again to the hospital. Thankfully, it was only like 50 minutes away. That's why we chose it. So off we ran to the hospital. I was like, so painful. You hear about those stories. In the movies, like, hurry. That was me. I remember seeing a guy in a van at the traffic light. He must have thought, what the heck is wrong with this? Wrong with this woman. I was banging my head on the dashboard because, like, one minute I was sitting next to me, I was like, it's coming, the contraction's coming. And I was like, I was banging my head on the dashboard and I was shaking my husband. He must have thought I was a domestic abuser. So anyway, he drove off real quick after that. So we got to the hospital, right? And it was so painful. I vomited. And they checked my contractions. They're like, you're on the maximum contractions. Your contractions are big. They're big contractions. And so they said, okay, great. Let's check you. Tell me why, girls and guys, I was only 4 cm, right? I was like, what? How can I only be 4 cm at this level of pain? How is it even possible? It's so, I can't imagine it to be even more painful than this. And I'm only 4 cm dilated, right? So at this point, folks, this is where you have to make a decision what's best for you. And I really hope that nobody passes judgment. And if you do pass judgment, I really don't care, because I've got to do what's best for me. You have to do what's best for you, okay? And if what's best for you and your happiness and your peace is getting a freaking epidural, then get a freaking epidural. For me, and if you feel like you don't want it and don't need it, and you can withstand it, power to you. I have so much respect for you. But I was in that moment where I said, I'm at 4 cm. I've been going through really painful contractions for many hours now, and I'm only at 4 cm. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. So off we went, and they gave me an epidural. And my goodness me, what a joy it felt. Honestly, like I said, wow, this isn't so bad. I could hardly feel the contractions then. I was like, this is not so bad at all. I can do this, no problem. And I relaxed, and I was like, wow, this is an enjoyable process, And so I got really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen. We're gonna get this baby out. And the doctor measured me, and after an hour, she said, wow, you're 7 cm. Within an hour, you dilated. It took you hours to get to 4. But now with the epidural, I dilated to 7 cm. So she was really excited. We were all really excited. And the doctor was like, I reckon in a couple of hours we can get this baby out. She was like pretty excited. So my husband, Jerry, he messaged everybody in the family, wait, baby's here. Maybe by 7 p.m. It was 4 p.m. at the time. And that's when it all fell apart, folks. So then it went downhill from there. I'm just gonna warn you, trigger warning, it went downhill. So after that, after all the initial excitement of, we're going to get this baby out like a cannonball, I contracted and contracted and contracted. Time went on. I had only dilated to 8 cm. And, time was ticking. Time was going on. I carried on. More contractions. And I was starting to feel the contraction. Because it was so long, the period was so long, I was starting to feel the contractions again, and I was panicking. I was like, oh my God, I cannot feel these contractions again. I'm already tired. No freaking way. Give me another epidural. Off they went, gave me another epidural. But that then I got kind of freaked out because I couldn't move my legs. And then I felt like I could feel myself panicking a bit, because I was like, oh my God, what if I'm paralyzed? I don't know, it's an irrational thought at the time. It was like people were moving my legs, and I could see them moving my legs, but I couldn't feel it. And it's the most surreal feeling, and it felt so bizarre, and I had to breathe a lot not to have a panic attack. So I was like, this is so unnerving to have my entire lower body be swiveled around and moved around and poked, and I can't feel it. I could see my, they were lifting my legs up. I could see my legs being lifted, and nothing. I thought, oh my God, because I love running. Running is one of my passions, and I was like, what if I can never walk again? Anyway. So after the second epidural, we waited, and it was, the doctor was starting to get anxious. She said, I think it's called a pectogram. Correct me if anyone in the medical experience here. She said, we have a pectograph or pecto something, and we need to deliver within that pectogram or pectograph. Anytime after that is dangerous for the baby. I don't know why it's dangerous. She probably explained to me, but it was dangerous. And I'm kind of in two minds about what happened, to be honest. I'm still processing it. I understand from the medical side, their best interests are the baby. That they want to keep the baby alive. They want to keep me alive, right? But also, they're a private hospital, and they're also real human beings that want to go home, right? They have families at home. So if they were to draw out every labor, it wouldn't be practical for them. And I was just another patient. That's the reality, right? So I could see my doctor wanted to get this over and done with. No. In fairness to her, I don't see that she wanted to get over and done with, but I could sense that she wasn't willing to wait as long as I wanted to wait, right? And I kept saying, let's wait. Let's keep waiting. Hang on, I don't want to kind of have a cesarean unless I need to medically, right? And we waited. And then she kept saying the pectogram is, we're over the pectogram now, over the pectogram. So then they gave me a drug called pep something to help give oxytocin to the baby, to kind of induce the baby to come out, And that was when it all fell apart, guys and girls, because what happened was I ended up dilating to 9 cm. I'm gonna just backtrack a bit. I'm not going to confuse you. I'm going to just say, just going to balance it back a bit, where the doctor balancing the best interest with, with them wanting to go home, but also me wanting a natural birth, and how to strike that balance, right? And so I think that, for me, I wanted a cesarean only where it's medically necessary, but quite often in the medical field, they want to do what's convenient for them, right? And so they will push for an epidural, push for a cesarean. And in the private hospital I was in, an emergency C-section costs quadruple. It costs quadruple, no, even more than quadruple. Here's how bad my math is, okay? Imagine a natural birth costs like 3,000, 3,500. An emergency is going to cost, an emergency costs over 20,000. That's the reality of what the costs were. A natural birth was around 3,500, and an emergency C-section in this private hospital I was in was going to be over 20,000. So there's a lot of financial benefit for a private hospital to push an emergency, to be honest. And I had that in mind. I was aware of that. I was also aware that the doctor has a duty to look after the baby and get them out alive. So this was all going on. So, they gave me this pecto something, and to try and encourage the baby to come out faster. And I had dilated to 9 cm, right? And I was like, we're already at 9 cm. Let's just wait till 10 cm. The baby can come out soon, okay? Let's wait. But unfortunately, the baby apparently didn't like that drug they gave me. And according to the doctor, baby's heart rate dropped. I don't know. I mean, I saw, there was I don't want to talk too much about what happened or who said what, but I remember saying to the nurse, you're putting the thing on wrong, because she changed the way she put the CTG scan for the heartbeat, and then the heartbeat went down, and it went up and it went down. I said, no, I think you're putting it on different, and which is making the baby's heartbeat go down, because I can see when you change it, it goes back up again. Anyway, that's my word against theirs. But anyway, they decided, I think they put on the CTG scan wrong, which meant the heartbeat went down, because me and my husband changed it and it went back up again as normal. And the doctor came in and was like, listen, we're over the safe threshold. We've pushed it long enough. It's medically necessary now for me to give you an emergency. I'm bringing you in. The baby's heart rate is dropped now. It's dropped. And I kept telling her, I was like, listen, no, because the nurse has put the CTG scan on wrong. And anyway, I wasn't in a position. I was already kind of overwhelmed by everything. And in that moment, you're kind of like, well, who's the doctor here? Not me, right? And you trust the medical field. So I remember thinking, I can't believe this is happening. I cannot believe this is happening. The last thing I wanted is happening. And I remember thinking that just so, I don't know, I felt like a series of emotions, to be honest. I just felt shock. I felt frustration with myself. And I was like, I can't believe this is happening when we're so close. We're 9 centimeters, one more centimeter to go. And we can try and have a natural birth, right? But anyway, I was wheeled into the theater, the surgery, and it was so awful, So then, anyway, they wheeled me in, and they gave me another, so they wheeled me in, and it was all really quick. And then I said, then they gave me another drug. I don't know what drugs they gave me. To be honest, there's so many. They gave me another drug for something else, and I remember I laid back and I said, "Where's my husband? I need my husband. Where is he?" They said, "We're just preparing you. He'll be here in a moment." And they gave him his scrubs. And I kept saying, "I need my husband right here. Where is he? I'm scared, And after that, that's when it all went wrong, really, because what happened was they started the incision. And I then had an adverse reaction. I mean, the timing of these things, you have to bear with me. The timing, I can't give you the accurate detail of the timing, but I just remember starting to hyperventilate, and I had an allergic apparently, according to later on learning this, I had an allergic reaction to the drugs they gave me, which was causing something that looked like an epileptic fit, looked like a seizure. My body was jerking around, and then I started vomiting, and I just remember choking, and I remember saying, and I remember feeling this, I can't breathe. I remember thinking, I cannot breathe. I'm vomiting, I'm choking on my vomit. I cannot breathe. And choking, I remember that. Okay, the baby woke up and I had to have a moment. So what happened was, where was I? I just remember telling the doctors, I cannot breathe. I can't breathe. I'm choking on my vomit. I can't breathe. I remember saying, I can't breathe. And just feeling so scared. And so many emotions, because they're cutting me open. And then I was like, where's my husband? Where is my husband? And this, what turned out was they forgot him. They forgot my husband outside. And he was outside saying, I want to come in. And they were like, wait. And eventually he said, I need to go in. And he came in when they were already cutting me. So that was kind of wrong on their part. That was wrong, because, he should have been there from the start. So he came in as they were cutting me. And so I was having this allergic reaction, having these hyperventilating, seizures, jerking around while they're cutting me. And this is going to sound really, really weird, right? And if you're spiritual, you might have an opinion. You'll think about this one way. If you're non-spiritual, you'll think about this. I was hyperventilating, but I remember looking up, and in the right corner of the ceiling, I saw clouds. I was like, that's weird. Why are there clouds on the ceiling? And I saw like a round kind of tunnel. It's going to sound really weird, guys. I don't know how to explain it, but I can only explain what I saw. And I remember as I was like, because I remember I passed, I blacked out. I remember I was like, my tunnel, there was like a tunnel. My eyes went, I said, I'm vomiting, and everything went black. And I looked up after it went black, and I saw my mother-in-law. And as many of you know, my mother-in-law passed away quite recently, 2 months ago. And I saw my mother-in-law up there. And I said to her, Mary, I don't want to be here anymore. If you excuse me. Because I said to her, I've been through so much pain. I'm in so much pain right now. I'm scared. I'm overwhelmed. Everything that I didn't want to happen happened. I didn't want to be induced. I didn't want a C-section. I didn't want any of this to happen. And I was in so much pain. I said, I can't breathe. I just want to be there with you now. It looks nice. And my mother, I think I was just so over it. I was so over it. I was like, listen, my husband is an amazing man. He will find somebody to love him, no problem for him to love. Like, I love him. And I thought to myself in that moment when I was in so much anguish, I thought, I love him so much, but he's an amazing man, and he's going to have he'll have no problem finding someone to love him and for him to love, And I thought, I've had a good life. I've had a freaking good life. I've had good innings, and I would not be upset to go now, I wouldn't want to, but I've been very fortunate with my life, I've had a very fantastic life. And I said, maybe it's my time to go, And that was the thought process I had. And from my husband's point of view, what he saw, he said, you blacked out. So after having these seizures, you blacked out, and they were trying to clear your lungs from the vomit, right? It took them about an hour took about an hour, and I don't know what they gave me. But he was like, I think I'm going to transfer to another emergency hospital. They were like, I think they put me in a different emergency room. I don't understand. I don't really know the details. I wasn't awake. And I don't really want to kind of talk too much about it with my husband because it's pretty traumatic. We're still kind of processing it. But what happened was, this is something really like a miracle. I was completely out of it. And suddenly they brought my baby in. They brought my baby in after an hour. I think they put her on my chest initially, but I was out. I was completely out. And then later on, I was kind of coming to, but not coherent. I was all over the place. And then Jerry, my husband, said, as soon as they brought the baby in, I sat up, my eyes wide open, and I said, my baby, I had my baby. And they put me on her chest to breastfeed. And suddenly I was okay again. And so we started our journey together. It's pretty traumatic. And I want to share this because I don't want to scare any of you, but I also want people to know that you can make all the plans in the world, but life's, and you just have to get through it. And I remember thinking, as I had my little girl on me, I was like, I cannot control what's happened to me. I really cannot control what's happened, the series of events, the disappointment I feel. But I can control how I react to it. I can control what I do about this now. And what I'm going to do about it is react the most positive way possible and move forward. Move forward so we can begin our journey in the most positive way. And so that was they took my baby and they kept me in the emergency room, and my husband refused to leave. They said to my husband, why don't you go to your suite, your room, and we'll keep an eye on her. And he said, no, I want to stay with her. So he stayed with me that night, and they monitored me. And they kept me in the hospital for three days, I think, three days. And I was I was in so much pain. I'm in so much pain because my body's broken in every way, right? I had normal delivery where they had the contractions and they dilated me and they put their hands up me and they had, the pain down there. Then they had the pain of the C-section, which, everything's blown up now and, it's just so painful. It hurts to breathe. It hurts to move. Everything hurts so much. And, but, after, 3 days, I had a bit of time to kind of just gather my wits and realize how lucky I am. And, my parents came to visit, and that was a beautiful time. And then we went home, right? We went home. And and we've realized that our daughter is a night owl. And so our first night was like the baptism of fire. It was an absolute shit show. She screamed the whole night. I'm in pain. I can't move. I can hardly move. My husband has no idea what he's doing. Because when she breastfed me the first time, I was out of it. It caused this thing called nipple. My nipples are basically bleeding. It's going to sound really too much information here, friends. But my nipples are bleeding, painful, excruciating. It hurts to breastfeed. I want to cry every time I'm breastfeeding. And because of that, she's not getting enough milk. And we're like, how are we going to get through this? This was just the first night. Like, my nipples are so painful. You imagine, like for the guys, imagine the tip of your dick bleeding and cut and someone chomping at it every 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. That's what it feels like. And it's bleeding and where it'll get infected. And it was all that. And I was like, again, we cannot control what happens to us. We can control how we react to it. Number one. Number two is, this is a big life rule of mine. I work hard so I can spend on things that make my life better and easier. And my goodness me, how that has helped me right now. I feel the benefits of having a blogging business and having savings, because you know what I did? I booked a lactation consultant to figure out why the heck my nipples are cracked and how to feed the baby. We booked a confinement lady who's a confinement lady comes and basically looks after you and the baby for 2 weeks to a month. You Google it, it's a thing in Malaysia and in a lot of Asian countries. She cooks for you, she gives you a massage every day, she washes the baby, massages the baby, cooks, cleans the house, basically looks after you so you can heal. And so the lactation consultant came, the confinement lady came, and suddenly things feel a bit more manageable. I'm still in a lot of pain, but having the resources to pay for people to fix and help the situation is, to me, so life-changing. It's like we have savings, we are going to spend on this. And so right now the confinement lady comes in a day from 9 to 5. She looks after the baby, looks after me, and it takes the pressure off so I can heal. The lactation consultant has given me a plan. I have amazing breast pumps that now I can pump milk without hurting my nipples, letting them heal. So I think we're on a journey to recovery, guys and girls. It's still tough because last night I was up all night because she just refuses to sleep at night, and it's very tiring. It's going to accumulate. The lack of sleep is going to accumulate. But I feel a lot better than I did on the first day. And there's still some days that are going to be horrific. But my goodness, having the privilege to work hard, earn, and so you can save yourself in situations like this. So that's just really what I wanted to share. I hope I haven't rambled on too much. I know many of you are curious to know what her name is, what she looks like, but, I want to keep it to myself for now, to be honest. All will be, I'll see how I feel in the future. I'm just healing now. Trying to get my nips back in shape so I can breastfeed properly. Trying to get my feet have severe water retention. They look like pig trotters. Trying to get my C-section and also there's a lot of blood still. So I'm just healing right now. Trying to just take one day at a time. But yeah, that's my birth journey. And I hope it didn't traumatize you. But I want everyone to know, whatever you decide, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I know there are people who are listening to this who are going to judge me. Oh, you didn't have enough strength to have a natural birth. Oh, you should have had a planned C-section. That is your opinion, and I don't care. You've got to do what's best for you. Let's have more, unless I really like Miss World here, let's have less judgment and more kindness. Whatever works for you, do that. And there's no disappointment, there's no judgment. You've got to do it. You've got to do what's best for you, but don't turn away from what help that's available just because you're worried of what other people will say. Okay, try your best, put your best foot forward, and I wish you all a great week. And hopefully I could share the more little tidbits from our journey. Thanks for listening.